10 Americans have been detained by Haitian police as they tried to bus more than 30 children across the border into the Dominican Republic, allegedly without proper documents.
We had 33 children from the age of 2 months to 12 years. And in the course of the time frame we had them with us, obviously the entire team deeply fell in love with these children. They're very, very precious kids that have lost their homes and their families and are so deeply in need of, most of all, God's love and His compassion and just a very nurturing setting.
The Americans are Baptist church members from Idaho, and they were planning to take the children to the Dominican Republic, where they plan to establish an orphanage. The group's leader, Silsby, says the group paid no money for the children and obtained them from a well-known pastor who heads a religious ministry in Haiti.
Our understanding was that, and we were told by a number of people, including Dominican authorities, that we would be able to bring the children across. I understand that. Sir, that's the mistake obviously we made, is we did not understand that there was additional paperwork required.
Haiti now requires its prime minister to personally authorize the departure of any child from the country as a way to prevent child trafficking. And the Americans will go before a judge on Monday. The children are being cared for by SOS Children's Villages, a global nonprofit organization that's operating in Haiti. Sophia Cruz, The Associated Press.
An American missionary who had been locked up in Haiti since late January is heading home. A judge convicted Laura Silsby of arranging illegal travel, but sentenced her to time she's already served in jail.
Not right now.
The 40-year-old led a church group that tried to take 33 children out of Haiti. Silsby testified she thought the kids were orphans whose homes had been destroyed when the devastating earthquake struck on January 12th. But as it turned out, all of the children had at least one living parent. The group was initially charged with kidnapping and criminal association. Those charges were later dropped and everyone except Silsby was released. She was held the longest because she organized the trip, and prosecutors argued she knowingly took the children out of Haiti without the proper paperwork. Ross's, The Associated Press.
So we're talking about the case against those 10 American missionaries caught trying to take Haitian kids, many of whom were not orphans, out of the country. The case against them growing. Let me just show you what happened in court today. We showed you at the top of the hour. I mean, a lot of pushing and shoving as these folks were brought in. The charges against them: kidnapping, criminal association, in other words, conspiracy, not eligible for bail. The U.S. State Department saying they're monitoring developments. So let's talk to Carl Penhall, who's been following this from the get-go. So Carl, in terms of what we know that they have said to you and others that we know is not true, what are the lies that you say you know point blank?
Well, let's not even go into the stuff they talked about in the interview. Let's talk about this little piece of paper. It's about 4 inches by 3. This is the so-called brochure that the Americans were giving out to people who were handing over children. First line: we want to help Haitian children who have lost their mother and father. That is not true. Most of these children were not orphans, and in many cases it was their own mother and or father that handed over the kids to the Americans, and the Americans knew that because their translators were translating that for them. Lie 2. New Children Refuge is a non-profit dedicated to loving and caring for orphan and abandoned Haitian children in the Dominican Republic. We understand that the organization isn't even yet registered as a non-profit, and it certainly isn't dedicated to looking after any kind of kids in the DR, because that school and orphanage is not set up yet. It is still a 45-room motel that hasn't been converted. Third lie on this single piece of paper: we have permission to bring orphan kids into our orphanage in the Dominican Republic. Not true. The Dominican consul told the Americans at 2 p.m. on Friday, you do not have the paperwork, it is illegal what you're doing, do not travel. 4 hours later, at the border, the Americans were arrested. And then final lie, they're talking about you can follow the progress of your kids on our website. The website is not up and running yet, Anderson.
And so they're handing this out. I mean, essentially what we now know is they were around in Port-au-Prince trolling for kids. I mean, going around trying to collect kids under the age of 10 so for whatever reason they could take them to Dominican Republic. And what we had also just learned today is they had told that guy David Lewis they were actually going to bring some of these kids into the United States, or they'd offered to bring Richard's kids back to the United States, which, the fact that Richard and his wife said, look, do not go to this orphanage where our kids are in the process of being legally adopted, and they went anyway to try to get them, to me that just raises all sorts of red flags.
Certainly does raise red flags, as well as the fact that they were looking for children aged from 0 to 10, kids aged under 10. I asked an NGO specialist about that. Why 0 to 10? He says kids of 0 to 10 are much easier to send in adoption. You can bet your bottom dollar if those kids were going to be sent into adoption, they weren't going to be adopted in the DR. They would have been sent abroad for that. Maybe the DR was a halfway house. I don't know that for sure, though, but certainly, the people that you've talked to tonight, you can piece it together. It seems like that. And yes, certainly they were trawling for orphanages as well, because the 3 translators that we've spoken to extensively have said that they also were asked to telephone another orphanage, and that other orphanage also declined help.
Angry Haitians have demanded the billions of aid the Clinton Foundation stole from them. However, New Life Children's Refuge founder Laura Silsby, a woman with financial hellhounds on her trail due to her failing internet business Personal Shopper, which was rife with charges of unpaid employees, fraud, and wrongful termination suits, attempted to traffic 33 Haitian children into the Dominican Republic in the aftermath of the Haitian earthquake on January 12, 2010. Haitian officials placed Silsby and 9 other missionaries under arrest for child trafficking. After all were released except for Silsby, Silsby's attorney withdrew as her counsel. Silsby then hired Jorge Puello, a Dominican attorney under investigation for child trafficking in El Salvador. It was then that Hillary and Bill Clinton stepped in to diminish the charges against Silsby. According to WikiLeaks, Hillary's interest in Silsby dated back 9 years before the Haitian earthquake. WikiLeaks also reveals that Huma Abedin kept Hillary in the loop regarding Silsby's situation. Shania King, writing for the Harvard Human Rights Journal, elaborates, the Haitian justice system, prodded in part by President Clinton's diplomatic efforts on behalf of the missionaries, determined that none of the missionaries were guilty of illegal activities except the leader, Laura Silsby, who faced a lesser charge of organizing illegal travel. Along with the Haitian justice system, some observers excused the missionaries' actions, even though they rose to the level of child trafficking. They did so essentially because we place such little value on the integrity of poor families.
So who exactly is Lauren Silsby? Let's look. I'm going to be reading from a Daily Mail article. It was dated at February 8th, 2010. And the headline titles, "The Child Snatchers, Special Report from Haiti on the U.S. Missionaries Accused of Stealing Orphans, and Why, Most Shockingly of All, their parents say they would have given them away again." So the article begins to talk about a mother being interviewed about her children, one of her children that she was putting up to this organization that Laura Silsby headed to be transported to America under the rationale, for a better life, hoping that she would one day do well and come back and help the family back in Haiti. Let's go ahead and read some of this article. She clasped to the hands of other children, Aline, 18, and daughter Carlene, 21, as we talk of Benetide, which is the little girl that was sold to this SOS Children's Refuge, headed and organized by Laura Silsby. She was taken there by Haitian police the Friday before last, just after she of marketing. Under their site, it actually shows her face and her name as the current vice president of marketing for this company. It's a pretty high up position, as someone that could be influencing or has influence on a nationwide alert system for missing children. Now, Lauren Silsby and Carissa Coulter, which are the two women that had done most of the planning and organization involved in the New Life Children's Refuge program for adoption of children in the United States, their incidents in Haiti was actually being watched over by Uma Abedin, with Uma emailing Hillary Rodham Clinton with regular updates concerning the case. In some of the leaks, they also talk about the pricing of children. Now, Laura Silsby Gaylor became associated with My State USA, which is an Idaho corporation based in Meridian, Idaho, in 2010. My State USA CEO, Claudia Bittner, which is the founder of My State USA, appointed Silsby Gaylor as the CFO and corporate secretary in 2011. Now, My State USA changed its name to AlertSense. And AlertSense is this company that is involved in helping mobilize and managing the emergency response teams involved with children abductions in the country. Vaughn Hansen is now the CEO and owner of My State USA, and Hansen announced Silsby Gaylor is, as of October 2015, the vice president of marketing. What does My State USA AlertSense do? Well, according to their own website, quote, AlertSense offers a highly intuitive mass notification solution that simplifies alert creation and helps mobilize and manage the emergency response teams. So they're the contractor that supplies early response cell-based equipment that a few dozen states use for their Amber Alert systems, as well as hazardous weather and emergency preparedness update systems. So with this video, I want to urge viewers to look more into this, dig, do more research, do investigation as I've done here. This is just one person involved in one individual circumstance of, child kidnapping basically, and with ties to the Clinton Foundation. So with this one instance, I wanted to make a video to kind of cover this. At the same time, be looking into all these other individual instances and try to find leads and make connections between people and their positions in various corporations that are involved in these foundations. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel at The Liberty Columnist. And I look forward to posting more videos concerning the investigation into Pizzagate and exposing the international pedophilic ring.